Yay. Hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all and happy to see you in the virtual land as well. We will go ahead and get started with our new year launch program. And really the goal for today is for me to show you some of the brand new resources that you have available, but also we're going to set, some intentions for our 2021-2022 academic year. But before we get into all the resources presentations, we have some special guests with us today. And so the first one having some opening remarks is going to be our MVP of UNC, our general, Stephanie Torrez.
I'm really excited for this. Hi. I am so pleased to have a good turnout in person and virtually. So thank you for making time to do this. Probably 5 or 6 years ago, someone who's been around with me, Becky or someone could remind me. I organized these quarterly meetings mostly because it seemed like we had enough professional advisors across campus that I thought it'd be helpful if we could meet more often, because the same kind of questions related to registrar financial aid, bursar, some of those things would come up. And I thought we could create a larger community and leverage each other's wisdom and expertise. And so now when I look back at that time period where it was informal to where we're at now, I'm so pleased with the size of our advisor network. And so for those of you who are newer here, we did not have professional advisors or advisement and success centers in each of the colleges. That's something Jamie and others can attest to, that there were just a few across campus who did such good work that then people like Rosa and Jamie and others who were doing, and Becky were doing some good work in different ways, that the campus finally saw that there was a need for us to formalize that, because we can see how much it supports faculty in their endeavors and their advising, and also being that bridge, I think, for some of the student success that we oftentimes encounter on a day-to-day basis. So really what I wanted to say is that this is a marking point for me, a milestone, that we're here and that we're at this new stage. So we went from informal to a little bit more formal. We have a declared statement of practice that you're going to indulge me, please. I want to read it because our UNC professional advisors and coaches provide holistic, inclusive support, helping students navigate the institution and meet their academic and personal goals through building meaningful relationships and intentional advising practices. And so how do we make sure that as a community that we are supported in that consistent advising practice? That's why we now have Hayley's position as the professional practice specialist, coordinator, whatever Hayley's shorter tagline is for that, but providing a structure that we can kind of all go to as a source of saying, this is what UNC endorses as, relying on the professional practices and what we know works for our students. This is kind of our touchstone. And certainly there's very unique things that need to be attended to in your different colleges. So the idea here is that this will be our launch, of resources that will be a common set of resources. And I expect that it will continue to evolve. I expect that how we figure out assessment and things will evolve, but the structure there is intended to support, not restrict. And I also know not always is it easy that we're trying to bring together 50 plus people and their different unique practices and skills, and also make sure that the standard and quality is the same. It is something we didn't have before. So structures sometimes feel like putting the toothpaste back in the tube. But what I promise is I'll always ask, because I think there's so much wisdom in this group. Hayley is so collaborative. I think that you've observed that, and she's a true helper. And I don't think we would have gotten through this summer and all of its challenges if she and others didn't spend so much time on that. And so I also want to acknowledge you, Hayley, for all of your talents and gifts, because we're benefiting from that, and just all of you for your participation, engagement, and willingness for us to work together. So thanks for being here.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yay. Our next special guest is going to be Melissa Hoffner from our Tutorial Services Center. Just here to remind you about how awesome Tutorial Services is. Definitely a close campus partner for advising, for helping students and supporting students. Melissa, thank you.
It's kind of funny talking to the camera.
I know.
Sorry. So I have my little cheat sheet, even though I've been here for 20 some years. I just want to make sure I kind of don't forget to tell you something. So I have it here. But I am from Tutorial Services. We are located in Missioner L149. Our services are free. I mean, the students are paying for them, but they are free for them when they want to come in now. So we have, let me start out. The tutors, how do we hire these tutors? These tutors are students and they have to have a 3.0 cumulative GPA. They have to have taken the class they want to tutor in and received an A or a B, and then also get a letter of recommendation from the department. And then we are also, well, then they go through an interview process. You know, I know paper looks good sometimes, but when I interview, I want to make sure I'm seeing what kind of person they, you know, their personality. I mean, I've had people that come in and they've got the grades and everything, but I don't know if it would be a good fit with the student, you know, because it just like that. So, you know, the interview process is huge too, just to make sure that we're getting good quality tutors in there. They come in with their qualifications of having those grades and stuff like that, but then they are also going through certification. We are certified by the College Reading Learning Association, and it's called CRLA for short. But we do have that, and we're just recertified. We recertify every 5 years, and we've had that since the 20-some years I've been here, so and probably before. But what we do offer is individual and small group tutoring. In the tutoring center, we call it Tutorial Services, but you can come in for individual and small group appointments. They can schedule those. During the day, we want to say those are pretty much by appointment. They could come in and be like, hey, is a tutor available? If they are, they can go ahead and see them. We use a system called Tutor Track. It's on our website, and that's how they go and make an appointment, or they can actually come in person now that we are going to be back on campus. They can come in person and make an appointment. But those appointments are one-on-one, or they do come in as a group if they like. A lot of times the sciences, they come in and they come in as a group. Those hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. That's when the office is open, and Friday 8 to 2, because you know, like at 2 o'clock, campus kind of like clears out. So, and then at 5, from 5 to 8, now that we are back on campus, we will be having drop-in again on the first floor of the library. So Monday through Thursday, 5 to 8, and Sunday, 6 to 8, the tutors that are available will go upstairs and they'll be there available for drop-in. They don't have to make an appointment. Whatever tutors we have, we'll have a list there. They can come in and see them. Tutors will work with, you know, a number of students. Like some tutors might be tutoring Spanish and biology. That tutor may be working with a couple different people, just kind of doing those like quick questions if they didn't get in there. So we also have a couple satellites. One of them is business. The tutors, they do some of the hours in the tutoring center, but they will also do some drop-in over in Kepner. We have a music tutor. He was in, I think we had him in Skinner last time. And then the residence halls, I think there are RLCs now, but we have tutors that would sit on the certain floors. I think right now we still have the nursing and maybe the business. And they're on the floor to help those students. They have a few hours instead of their desk hours. They have a few hours for that. So we also do things as study nights. We tried to do that virtually. We didn't get a lot of turnout, but study nights is twice a semester, midterms and finals, right before midterms and finals. And we try to get almost as many tutors as we can to go over to the UC. A lot of it's for visuals that people never seen us and just drop in. It's usually like the Tuesday or Wednesday before that week, and it's from 4 to 8. We just go over there and hopefully we see some, and we had some, you know, like snacks and stuff like that. But that's like to get people in, and we did some numbers to see, and a lot of times that's where we grab some students for the very first time through there. So that's kind of cool. So like, oh, we have a tutoring center. So supplemental instruction is another program that we have, and we also refer to as SI. We call them SI leaders. These SI leaders will sit in the class. And they're kind of just going along, taking notes and seeing where that professor is at. And then they're going to hold 3 review sessions a week for that class. Let's say if we have like Chem 281 and there's 2 different professors, it is geared towards that certain professor in their sections. The other class sections are welcome to come, but it just might not be like the same track that they're going. But, you know, we try to help them as much as we can. Okay, and let's see if I made myself notes. Okay, so before COVID, we went from everything was in person, signing up and everything like that. And that week of spring break, I've never worked so hard in my life. We basically turned everything into virtual, and we now have an online tutoring scheduling sign up system. So that it's Tutor Track. We had that before, but we just learned how to use all the tools and everything. So now we have Tutor Track, so students can sign up from your office. They can get on and sign up from there. They can come in, they can call, but it's a lot easier accessible because they can see the schedule. We went virtual for that time that we weren't on campus, but when we were allowed to come back, Tutoring Center did come back at 50%. So I had tutors that were working in the office, tutors that were working virtually, tutors in the office and working, like they could offer virtual. The plan is to go back to being in person, but the tutors that are working during the day will be virtual. They can have the option of tutoring in person or virtual. The night will be dropping. I don't know how I'll do that because I was also kind of thinking about athletes and stuff and maybe figuring out how I could virtually do something for them. So we have a virtual option during the day, at least right now, and we'll figure out the rest as we go. And hiring, everyone, what happened like during COVID, everything kind of took a hit. I had a lot of people graduate. So I am still looking for tutors. A lot of you, if you aren't new, have been here for a while. So if you have students that you see that have, those qualifications or you think would be great, if you could send them my way, give them my name, and I can help be like, hey, cheerlead them into like applying. But I think that is it. Any questions? And we don't see students that are just struggling. We see students that most of the times the students that are coming in are like our nursing students that are trying to keep those A's and B's up there. So anybody's to use that, and we're going to try to see how much we can pull more in. Oh, I have one more. We have a study skills session. Study skills tutors. Tutors have always done study skills, but we're working with University 101. I'm hiring tutors. I'm hiring their student leads, and they're coming in because they've done Dr. Vaughn's class, and so they've done a lot on study skills. So they are actually just going to be study skills tutors available, like how they did workshops and stuff. But the student can come in and do that one-on-one with them as well. So,
no, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm taking up your time.
Tutors make so that you can pass that along.
Okay, so minimum wage is $12.32. The university did give me some money back. I am starting them at $12.75, and they do go up on levels. I'd go higher, but I have to make sure I can still hire. So it is at $12.75, and they are getting certified. So.
I know you said this, but it escaped me. What's the GPA requirement?
A 3.0 cumulative GPA, and they have to have an A or B in the class they want to tutor in, and the recommendation from the professor. And if they have questions, I'm easy to talk to, I would think, so they can call me or email or even Teams or Zoom. Sorry, I think I went over my time, but any other questions? That never happens. I don't have a lot of cards because we didn't hand out anything for a long time, but here's one at least for your office. We do have little bookmarks, but I'm sure as we go, we're going to be reinventing stuff because everything has changed. But
They don't work study, right?
no, we do hourly. It is nice when we have work study because it's a little bit more, but yes, we do both. I get funded better, but yeah, the pay rates stay because it's by scale of their certification. The study skills, and if we don't have it, they can ask and we'll see if the demand is there. It's just because they have to get the certification. I don't want to have someone tutor something and then the department's like, what are you doing with them? What are you showing them? But we work as hard as we can to see if we can, especially if the demand keeps coming in, we'll try to hire. All right.
Thank you. Perfect. All right. We love, again, tutorial services, amazing. And I really appreciate that they're adding some study skills, kind of general tutors. As my second part of my job is working with academic probation, I'm extra excited for you to be able to refer those students going through that process over to a study skills as well. Next, we're going to learn about the Writing Center, get some great reminders and information from Dr. Melody Denny, the director of our Writing Center on campus.
All right, is this my little area?
Oh, I can see myself. Okay, I'm not. I'm Dr. Melody Denny. I am the director of the Writing Center, and many of the things that Melissa said I can kind of hook onto. We also participate in study night with tutorial services. We were trying to collaborate more and more. And for the first time since I've been here, we're going to also do drop-in sessions in the library Monday through Thursday with tutorial services. So those are two things I just wanted to mention while they were fresh in my mind, and I didn't forget. So Writing Center works with all students, all majors, in all classes at all levels. So we do have a lot of first-year writing students come in. They're our biggest clientele. Our second largest clientele, graduate students. That transitional period between levels is kind of scary, and we're definitely here to support. Our consultants, I do call them consultants instead of tutors, but it doesn't really matter, are from all different majors and minors and backgrounds, because we know that different disciplines have different writing needs and styles and just disciplinary values. And so I try to recruit people from across different disciplines. I don't have as many consultants as Melissa has for tutors. I have about 20. So I'm not going to hit everything. But they can work with anybody that they feel comfortable working with. And sometimes they will find consultants that they kind of click with, and they'll go to that person for every writing issue, even if it's like for 4 different classes. So we are moving back to face-to-face. Yay! We're in Ross Hall, 1230. Let me say that. Oh my God. So we will be doing face-to-face sessions there. We're going to continue doing email and Zoom sessions, which we had already been doing email sessions, which are asynchronous. So students make an appointment through our online scheduling system. They upload a document, and within 24 hours, they get personalized feedback based on their questions or concerns. We are going to keep Zoom. That was a new COVID experiment that I think it works pretty well. So we can meet in real time during the scheduled appointment time with students to talk out ideas. And a lot of times when students are like, I don't know what a literature review is, that's the great appointment to have to come in and talk about it. Or I have this assignment, what does it mean? So we are often, I think, translators of academic language and academic expectations, and we do a lot of that. We also are obviously going to be pretty adept at MLA, APA, Chicago. And then the other stuff we may not memorize, but we know how to look up resources and model those practices for students who are in the center or online. And we share lots of resources with the email sessions. Like with tutorial services, we're free. Yay. And like with tutorial services, you can make appointments online. We have just like a little button through our website, which is unco.edu/writing-center. I don't want to go into too much detail because we might be changing a few things, but we're still going to offer those 3 types of sessions to save a time. Absolutely, you need an appointment. I would recommend making an appointment, but as long as a consultant is available during our walk-in or our hours, which are not quite set because I have to kind of see what student schedules are. As long as a consultant's available, they can go ahead and have an appointment right there. And they can make appointments up to 30 minutes before that time slot. There in the past had been some restrictions on a 24-hour advance notice, but you don't always have that. So we're trying to loosen that up a little bit. We can also let professors know that a student visited if they want to offer extra credit, or if they missed like a peer review or some sort of group activity that they can kind of make up for by talking with someone about their writing assignment. We can send a notification as well. Emily, am I missing anything? That's my graduate student. Not that you all would necessarily, but if you can think about it, NHS Advising Center reached out to me. I'm happy to do personalized workshops about writing situations or particular things. I did one with NHS last semester. It wasn't like super well attended, but that's okay. Everyone's tired of being on Zoom. I won't take it personally. Okay, one person came, but she had a great time. But it was just like how to tackle end of semester, like writing projects, right? And it was supposed to be kind of general, kind of like the study skills that Melissa mentioned. So we like to offer those kinds of things. But if a professor's like, well, my students really need help with this type of assignment or this type of citation, I'm happy to create those custom workshops and go in and deliver those as well. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah. Well, we are in a different structure than Melissa. We're not part of CRLA. Their certification is really for more generalist tutoring practices, and writing is pretty specific. It's very different from like tutoring math. So we're just doing $13 an hour across the board right now. And I have hired everybody out of my budget line. So I only have work study positions open right now, but I'm absolutely would gratefully take any recommendations. The requirements are different because we don't have that national organization kind of handing down those requirements. Obviously, good communication skills, but I can teach lots of people how to look up stuff in MLA or, comma rules. I can't teach them how to be a kind, patient person. And so that's really my primary hiring. Like, are you a good person? Can you be kind to people who are struggling? That's really where we are. When people come to the writing center, it's usually not because they love writing and they're excited to share. Sometimes, but usually they're frustrated. Sometimes they cry. And so I need to have good humans who are willing to like deal with those situations and be empathetic and understanding. So yeah, absolutely. So I handle a lot of that. But we do have, the graduate college, shout out, did give me some graduate stipends to hire some people. So I do have a PhD student in sport and exercise science, a master's student in speech and language pathology, and a master's student in English right now. And granted, they may not know exactly everything, but they're gonna like, hey, here are some guidelines. I'm gonna help support them. And then anything they don't feel capable of or comfortable handling, they can kick up to me. So yeah. All right, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to give you additional information, anything like that. I love writing, love helping people, and yeah, go team.
Go team. Thank you. It's too loud with the mic now. They're very powerful. Yes. And I hope we all walk away a little bit more inspired and empowered for this upcoming semester. I am Hayley Blackburn, she, her, and my position is your academic review and practices coordinator. Long title, figuring out the best combination, but really what that means is I am the support for all of you as your support for students. My primary roles are creating tools, resources, connection opportunities that will help and advance your own professional development and growth, as well as your effectiveness at doing your jobs. And then my second part is academic review committee. So that is academic probation. So whenever you do have questions about that academic probation policy processes, you just need a second sort of set of eyes on a student's account profile, whatever it is, definitely reach out to me as that coordinator. And today, the main event, we are going to talk about 3 in particular new resources that I am putting together, and we're really just going to celebrate that a new year is here. And while virtual will continue, I think we've all recognized that students and ourselves value hybrid opportunities. We're excited to be back on campus, and we're excited to have this 2021-2022 year. This is my little cartoon friend, Claus, as you are going through our Canvas shell. And if you have watched some of the training videos I've already put out, you will recognize Claus. He helps me often when explaining concepts. So the first real important sort of framework, and if you've worked and collaborated with me before, you've certainly heard me say this, but bright spots and growth areas. Those are my 2 kind of favorite phrases. And it is something that you will see all over the materials that I develop. And so a bright spot is something that we want to replicate with intention. It's a tool, it's an activity, it's a mindset, a behavior, an attitude, a specific thing that led us to success. And so since we know it is successful, now we can actually think about putting it into practice again. And I definitely encourage using that with students. As a student success coach, my first role here at UNC and on campus, I found that this language resonated with some of those HSS students and is helping them identify their bright spots. We all have bright spots, and we all also have growth areas, which are just things we want to recalibrate with intention. A growth area isn't something necessarily bad. It's not even something necessarily broken. It's just a place that's not quite a bright spot yet, and something you want to really refine, recalibrate, sort of adjust, so that way you can be successful. And so that's the mindset I really want you to go into all of our professional connections and training resources, and of course your meetings with students with. Now, one of the bright spots at UNC is things like our staff, including Rosa Law. Yay! Yay, Rosa. Who is our director of the Montfort College of Business Advising Center and won the Staff of the Year award. No, she's amazing. But guess what? You are all amazing too. And I really feel like at UNC, our bright spot is our advising network and the way that we are able to help support and touch students. And so that's one thing we want to continue replicating with intention. And we're going to do that with all the new people that we have brought on board this year, as well as going to be bringing on board. And so I am so happy to welcome new folks onto our team. And I'm very excited to see what bright spots you identify, what growth areas in our existing systems you identify, and working with you to help us change and become a more innovative, exciting campus for the future. Now, growth areas, again, we have places we want to recalibrate, right? We have things we want to really think about. And I want to bring you into a new era, right? So I hope that you want to come away with me. And we're going to address some of our growth areas. One of those that I have identified since 2019 is locating and kind of finding and saving information. Again, our staff is a bright spot, but a lot of the knowledge was extremely localized, right? People knew it and then people would leave, or maybe they were out of the office that day and nobody else knew that information. And so that's one growth area I've really focused on, helping us to recalibrate. I also, kind of in that vein, felt like the sharing of that knowledge and information was another growth area. So for 2021, 2022, that is my focus and my intention is addressing that particular growth area for UNC. And we're going to do that first with Envy, who is going to be our undergraduate advising chatbot. Envy never takes a sick day or a vacation day or a wellness day or all the things that we need and deserve and must take as staff. Envy will always be there for you, even when you're not, you're working after hours, which I know many of you log on and do a lot of work outside of our business hours. So Envy is something that will always be there with you and helping you when you have some questions. We're also going to have our new undergraduate advising Canvas shell, which will certainly help our new staff, but all existing staff will be able to refresh as well as practice some of these key skills. And our advising hub website, which has been my life for quite a while, but I'm very happy with how it is going. So first, when it comes to Envy, our wonderful chatbot system. Envy is going to be integrated directly into Teams. I know we have a wonderful habit already of using Teams to connect, ask questions, talk with each other. So Envy is going to be right there integrated in with Teams for you. And what Envy is really going to do is you ask Envy a question. For now, Envy knows two topics specifically. Envy knows the LAC, both new and old, and Envy knows about transfer questions. I need to continue teaching Envy more topics, but for now, those are the two, especially as we go into the end of the summer. Mostly students are worried about LACs and transfer classes. So you just type it in and Envy will start telling you information, providing you the links so you can go and read further and what you need. And we'll kind of guide the conversation for you a little bit as well. And so I'm asking Envy about kind of test scores. Envy is giving me information about the different credits, the exams. Here I can read about it some more, including things like AP credit. I know as a success coach, I was constantly having to relook up what different AP scores were. I found it very annoying to find that bookmark again. And so I've coded it in so Envy will give it to you right away. And really, there's a lot of learning Envy still needs to do. but I will continue building out those systems and processes. Envy will be available and distributed to you next week. Just need to fix a few little tiny things in the official launch and distribution this morning. But when that happens, you're just going to be able to search for Envy, our undergraduate advising chatbot, through the apps sections of Teams. And so when Envy is totally out there and ready, I will send you the instructions. And I'm also happy to come over to your offices, your advising centers, and help walk you through the process. So that way you can get this integrated and ready to use. As I mentioned, Envy right now only really knows about the liberal arts core and curriculum, new old catalog, as well as transfer questions, but over especially the fall semester, but this academic year, my priority topics to teach Envy are going to be registration related questions. I have kind of a long list of FAQs that I've sort of seen you ask our Bear Central team through the chat. So I've been collecting those and we'll start telling Envy what the answers are. I also am going to focus on different campus locations. So that way, instead of having to search all of our different websites, you could just ask Envy, where was tutorial services located again? And Envy will tell you. I'm also going to focus on different department information. Again, so you have a faster way to link to all of our campus services and partners, and then academic probation questions. Because again, maybe well, you all know I am addicted to work in my phone and pretty much answer all the time, but that is one growth area I'm trying to work on. So I want Envy set up so that way you can have that information whenever you need it as well. All right. I'm so excited for Envy. The second kind of growth area we'll be addressing is our undergraduate Canvas catalog. I added all of you to it this morning. And so when you log into Canvas, which is that same portal you go to for FERPA every year, we're going to have to renew that very soon, by the way, as well as sexual harassment, all of those portals. It is going to just be in there. You will need to press accept the first time, but it'll be a little kind of banner screen, very big green check mark saying, yes, accept, I want to join the course. Once you join the course, you will be greeted by lots of information. Go back. Some of that information really includes this nice home screen, the to-do list. Some things, I call them practice portals because that's what we're doing. We're practicing our skills in a way that is tied to some assessment so you can identify bright spots and growth areas. But for now, the only two things that are required for all UNC advisors is going to be the academic probation practice page, because probation used to be very much housed in SOAR. Now it is the responsibility of the colleges, even if you're not the primary advisor for probation in your area, it's very likely you will interact with students and advisees who are near probation or on it. So I want all folks to do that practice portal by September 6th, just so you're prepared for the fall semester. And then also our IDEA reflection. IDEA is that inclusion, diversity, equity, and anti-racism commitment that we made to President Feinstein and Dr. Guzman, that we would all participate and reflect throughout the year. So those are the two things that are due. However, your supervisor may assign you other practice portals with due dates as related and appropriate to your areas. When you are going to the different practice pages and navigation, several just core kind of topics, but all of those will take you down some rabbit holes. So it really is a choose your own adventure. If you've been here for 20 years, many folks, maybe you know it. So you skim around, you pick up on the few links or places you are less confident in. And if you're brand new, well, you have a lot that you get to cover. It could take you 40+ hours to go through everything, or you could complete all of these in 5 minutes if you jump straight to the assessments. But you're going to get to explore things like our Bear community, just really refreshing on all of our resources. This could be a great page, even if you know our resources well. Just make sure you have the updated bookmarks, links. And so if nothing else, go through it and make sure you have quick access to that information. We also have things like a whole IDEA page, again, filled with places that hopefully will inspire you to explore even further. So I kind of created a launch pad of different topics related to cultural competency, but certainly don't end with what I've curated. Let it be an inspiration. Probation, registration, skill building, and the largest one will be our tech and tools. Again, mileage will vary on how much tech and tool usage that you really want, but those are our primary topics for this year. As you are going through it, if you see a growth area, like, this topic is really important, it's missing, do let me know so I can build it into our next version for the next year. And then we have our skill and knowledge review whenever you're ready for that. And this is kind of our main practice, all your skills and knowledge. As you're going through it, you'll receive a summary of the topic, the core skills, various actions, and then you need to look for the knowledge. Refresh is the last section, and that's where you're going to get all the links, all the information, all the tips, videos to watch. I've created a lot of different mediums, hopefully for access. When you see this icon, that will take you to our practice portal. The practice portal is essentially a quiz, but you will be asked just questions related to the topic, that practice page that you are on. So that way you can sort of put your knowledge in application. The practice portals are populated with questions that eventually feed into the skill and knowledge review. So again, you could skip directly to that knowledge review, or you could just do a few of these practice questions. You will see the same questions eventually come up. With the probation advising page, again, I want all advisors to definitely explore this practice page and to take that knowledge check just to make sure that you know what to say if a student comes to you on probation. But another really, really good reason, even if you're not a probation advisor, to do this page, because that's where I have how to use our calculator, our GPA calculator, which is my new favorite tool. It is completely revamped with help from Frank and NHS. I have adapted that SU calculator you made, as well as the existing GPA calculator that we had, and kind of combine them into one. So you will learn how to use that tool, which you could help a student who wants to, have a specific scholarship or has, wants to go to grad school. They need to get a 3.5. You could use this tool to figure out what term GPA they need for that 3.5. And this is where you're going to learn how to use that calculator on that probation practice page. Again, I populated with lots of videos, walkthroughs, instructions, so that way, hopefully you figure it out. And again, if none of these instructions make sense, do reach out to me so I can recalibrate with intention, help people in the next year. When it comes to the types of questions you'll be asked, it was important to me that this was not just a recall sort of quiz on your memory, because that's not how we operate as advisors. I wanted it to be application based. So one, it is open note, and I give you lots of hints and links to find the answer. So I think as advisors, it's more important that we are really good finders of answers for students, not necessarily like just super rememberers. And so you will be able to, peruse other pages, get some help to answer the questions, and they are going to be things like scenarios. So I did try to write these questions based on actual scenarios I've come across or I've heard of you coming across in your advising practice. Sometimes it's going to be fill in the blanks, multiple choice. Sometimes I'll make you do real math. It's just a whole variety. Again, if you experience any glitches, do let me know and we can adjust some things. All of this is really working towards the motto of, find your bright spots, embrace your growth area. So while this Canvas shell is a tool for your supervisors to assess your skill, your work, your knowledge as advisors, assessment is just an opportunity for us to find where we can get better. And that is really the goal here. And the last way that I am addressing that growth area of communication, sort of down and upload, is through our Advising Hub website. It is super simple, unco.edu/advising, and that will take you right to the homepage. And on that site, you're going to be able to access so much information. I really tried to build a lot, and it's a living, item. It's something that I prioritize in my day and my responsibilities to make sure it remains updated. On this site, we have a source for students, so you could definitely link students to it, and they can, practice the skill of finding answers on their own as well. And so they're going to get all sorts of background information on what is advising, when to find advising, how to locate all of you, as well as this section of 12 things sort of bears should know, which are just a series of topics of items I always was surprised that the students I worked with never knew about UNC. And so any way that you can sort of direct students to that, and they will learn about things like, oh, I didn't know the catalog existed. Oh, I didn't know there was like an appeal process. It's those types of kind of, not secrets, but low-key secrets that students benefit from, but don't seem to get that information as readily. You also obviously have lots of tools and information on this site. There's a whole sort of subsection just for you. And on that subsection, besides being able to Control F, search, find information, you will see buttons like this. That is our document libraries, which will take you to a SharePoint where I am housing, less public facing resources. It's going to have a lot more downloadables and things that, we don't want to just put out there on the World Wide Web. However, anybody with a unco.edu, not the Bears version, the staff version, do have access to it. And if you cannot access any of these buttons, one, make sure that you are logged in to your 365 account, and to email me, and I'll figure out why it is glitching on you. Yes.
Is the website only available to students?
The website is a public facing website. And so, yeah, absolutely. If you have your social media sites, like link it, you can put it in the signature line of your emails. There's also a family and support people portion of the page. And so if you do interact with parents and support folks, maybe you're doing discover events or they just email you, certainly you can link them back to this page where there's a lot of information curated and connected back to their kind of parent support. So yes, anybody can access it. The only things that are sort of locked are those document libraries. Those are things that only you can access. And, with this website, another growth area that I feel like I noticed at UNC is we have a lot of websites that maybe don't get updated as often as they should. Maybe they don't have the most timely and relevant information. And so I am very committed, again, to making sure this advising hub stays timely and relevant. So I'm doing things like updating deadlines as they pass. I'm doing things like, updating even the terminology. So right now, it's talking a lot about the fall semester, but when it is appropriate, I will change it to talk about the spring semester. And that is my definitely commitment to all of you and the UNC community, is making sure that this website doesn't fall into one of those kind of archives of confusing information that is not updated. So if you ever find something that needs to be updated, whether it's a broken link or the hours of your center changed or just something incorrect, do send me a Teams chat and I will get that updated within 24 hours is my goal. Yay. So those are the primary growth areas that we are going to be focused on. So the kind of last things that I just wanted to review with all of you is really focused on this information kind of sharing. I went over these 3 areas that are going to help us with the information download. But we can do things differently to share information as well. Yes, and that is going to be through our professional development connection series. And so you are soon going to be spammed a little bit with a lot of calendar invitations. These are going to be all of the events and opportunities for the fall semester. And all you need to do on those calendar opportunities is press accept. I just want you to accept, your own growth and learning. Press accept for your development. Press accept to build connections with our network. All you need to do is press accept and it will be on your calendar. You'll have the whole fall semester planned out and then, show up. Most of them are going to be virtual over Teams, though, as you know, the semester, we see how it unfolds. I'll update the calendar invitations as sort of appropriate and necessary. Now, with these professional connections, there's pretty much something happening every Friday. The first Fridays of the month are going to be just time to reflect and set intentions for the upcoming month. I'm a huge fan of bullet journaling. And so I'll be doing my bullet journal during this time. And I just encourage you to set aside that full 30-minute window and help plan, or just, do what you need to do to feel prepared and refreshed for the month. I'm also very excited to introduce Media Talk Out, which essentially are going to be us coming together and discussing a media event. The first one that will be happening in September is actually all about critical race theory, because that's obviously been popping up in the news and is important to education. And we're going to discuss it through a podcast. So we're going to be discussing a podcast that discussed it. It's actually a pop culture podcast. So, every month when we do those, I'll kind of send you a little media clip or something ahead of time. Then we'll also have Listen and Learn series, so you can do things like we did today. And actually, Melissa and Melody will be coming back for a much longer form presentation and conversation about the Writing Center and tutorial services. And so we'll be having at least once a month kind of going through that. Our very first one will be in August with our friends at ASAP, actually. So you can learn a lot more about their services and how to support students in a crisis. And then we are going to be having advising talk outs, because there is so much knowledge here in this room, in this virtual space, in our community. As I mentioned, you are all bright spots. And so you are going to have that chance to lead and share the information that you have with your teams. Y'all, it's going to be a good year. Yes, definitely.
So Hayley, this is exciting. It means we will sunset, mothball, close down our team's site that has some of that document repository in it. We can close that down, correct? The advisor network team's site, we can close that down. And because these will be our new tools. So I'm just paying attention to things we can remove so that we don't have to look in 80 places in any insight. And then also it seems to me that I'm encouraging, I don't know about Hayley, I'm encouraging us to use the chatbot to whatever full extent that the information is in there, as opposed to the fast and easy. I will count on the fact that Marty, Charlie, and Jerry's staff will immediately answer me on our open chat. Like, I feel for them, they're understaffed as well, that they're anxiously monitoring that in addition to all their other work. And I think if we can do what we want our students to do and kind of use our tools and resources, I'm just challenging us to practice, ask the questions you have already tried to find with our other resources, ask them there as opposed to going there first.
Yes, second that. And, NV will get better over time. And right now the topics are a little limited, but I can only make NV better if I know how you ask questions, what kind of, questions are being asked. And so definitely, as you please try to use NV first, knowing that there is a lot, just like a student, NV will be in sort of school all semester as I program more topics and support into that chatbot. One thing with the distribution of NV, it's just computing off from the conversation maybe, but we will need to have a team just because NV has to be connected and live to a team, but exactly, we will not have random files just sort of stored in this team. You really will never need to go to it. I know there's a lot of confusion between, do I ask like the team or the chat, or what is the difference? And so certainly a goal is eliminating really a team as we think of it. And it really will just be a place for NV to live. Exactly. NV is short for Northern Vision, because UNC. And also, new visions. It just seems, yes. NV will be the envy of campuses everywhere. But yes, I was thinking about Northern Vision. And for our new staff, Northern Vision is the name of our bear statue out there, even though it does not face north. Fun facts. True. Good question. Other questions? This is your time to ask. You know, we had a packed program today, and thank you. You know, see what you say after you use it a little bit, but thank you. I am very excited. And again, bright spots, growth areas. When you see things that need to be recalibrated with intention, please, please, please tell me, because I cannot make it better. I cannot help you if you don't tell me. My feelings won't be hurt because it's simply a growth area. And so I am here to help you and collaborate with you. So do let me know what you need and what is missing so we can correct it. Perfect. And yay, we have now NACADA, which is our sort of National Association of Advising. Very, very cool space. One of my jobs really is reading a lot of NACADA stuff and then trying to translate it for all of you, but it's a great resource. And most importantly, they have a set of core competencies. There's 4 of them. You will read about them in the Canvas shell as well as on our website. But that is what we have tailored, especially the information in the Canvas shell towards. And so now we have actual printed booklets, so you can do more reading and have a really great reference to them. And they are over by the snacks. Is there one for every advisor?
One for every advisor. And because your directors ordered them from me, I purchased them. And so what doesn't take in today, whoever doesn't have one, I'll just have directors who are in the room grab the remaining, and then I'll get them distributed to those who aren't here today.
Yes, it's going to be a good year. All right, Zoom folks, I'm going to end the meeting for you. Thank you so much for joining. Instagram folks, I'm going to end you as well. Thank you for joining. And physical folks, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you around.